Now that our model is pretty much complete, let's take a look at some additional features of SketchUp. Namely, let's start looking at these tabs. Now, we've briefly used them in some of our previous tutorials, but let's dive into them a little further. So the basics are that these scene tabs can control everything from where your camera position is, along with your shadow settings, to your layers, really just about anything that has a setting in SketchUp you can control. Uh, this is the Scene Manager, which if you right click you can find it here under Scene Manager, and this is really where you can control everything. 99% of the time, every one of these will be checked, that you want your scene to remember your camera location, geometry, visible layers, section planes, etc., etc., and as well as include an animation. The only thing this is important for is if you are going to create an animation, it knows to use that scene as part of your animation file, which we use very, very little of. But where it does have some power is once we're all done and we export these scenes out, we can just simply come to View and Export Scenes to JPEG, and it'll batch export everything out, but it'll only export out ones that have this check mark. And if you notice on these scene tabs that have the parentheses around them, which most of these do and maybe some of these will, these are set to not be included. And sometimes you may want them, so we can simply just take it off. So say this Google Earth one is set, I have set standard to off because we may or may not have a Google Earth image. But if we do have one and we want to use it, we just simply come here and say include an animation, and you see the parentheses go away. So with that said, the basics are you find a camera view you like. So I already have this one. We don't have number 2 set, so maybe we'll move around and we'll find another view that we want to check out. We can use this guy right here, which I believe this is under Camera Tools, and this means you can position the camera wherever you want, and you'll see that down here the eye is set to 5'6", and you can just type a number in once you set it, whatever you want, 8 feet, 10 feet. We can go back to 5'6". You can put the eye wherever you want, and then set up your scene. If you right click, you can go to your walk command and kind of slide back. Maybe we'll look around, which basically means you're going to stand in one point, but you can essentially move your head to look where you want to see how you want to frame the picture. And maybe we want to do something like that. So once we're there, we then can simply right click. If a scene already exists that we're not using, you can simply go add, or if you want to you'd simply go update. And if you wanted to add one, you would simply just go to add, and you see it adds an additional tab. We'll delete this one right now because we don't need it. So now you see we have these scenes set up from different positions. We can also control under camera, we can do 2-point perspective, and what that does is it straightens out the vertical lines. So we're only doing a perspective in 2 points versus 3, where the standard in SketchUp is generally 3 points, but this one will hold at just 2 points. And you can see in the upper left corner, if I move around, it says 2-point perspective, so you know it's turned on. So we can just use the hand tool to pan around and find a good location that we want to hold it at, and we can right click and say update. Now notice I right clicked on the 2 because this was the 2 scene, even though 3 is highlighted. So we can go back to oh no, I was wrong. I had the wrong one highlighted, but no big deal. So we made this our 2 scene, which is fine, and we'll just recreate our 3 scene. So we'll come stand here. Again, we're a little close, so we'll just walk back a little bit. We'll look around, so maybe something like that looks good. Go to camera, 2-point perspective, and find something that works. And so number 3, see, so 2 scene was active, but that was our scene from over here, and we want to update 3, so we right click on 3 and say update. So I typically have these 3 scenes preset, not necessarily the location, just the tabs, and you can add in as many more as you need, wherever you want to go. But I generally do, my nomenclature is typically a 001 through 049 will be my scene tabs. I typically don't have more than, say, 10 or 15 at most. So then, after I have all my eye level scene tabs set up, I usually do then my 050s, which I have set up as more of a general aerial view. This one has it set with the Google Earth image on, but maybe this one we want to have the Google Earth image off. It's because we want to just see more of what we drew. And so let's do a general aerial just to kind of show what's going on. So that's our 50. And then 51 will just be from the other side. We'll do something more like that. And this one, maybe it's just a single. But again, you can do as many as you want. So we're just going to update these. And so that's what my 050s are. And then my 100s will be my 2-dimensional elevations. So I just zoom in to where I need to go to. And you see that my 2-dimensional elevations will turn off all the landscaping, all the entourage, as well as put my window backing on. So it creates a nice, clean, flat 2-dimensional elevations. We'll update that. This looks like it's actually not named properly, so we'll come to the scene manager, and we'll come down to this 100, this duplicate of the 100 front, and we'll rename it to 101, which will be my right elevation. So let's update that, and that's that easy. And so then we'll just find the right elevation, which is right there, and so we'll update that. And then we'll find the rear elevation, and we'll update that. And finally our left elevation, and we'll update that. Similar, here's our roof elevation, and I generally do more of a zoom in on the site itself. So there we go. We can then update that. And previously, when we talked about Google Earth images, we can show this, and maybe what we can do, this will be something fun. So we'll come in here, and I'm gonna create a new conceptual layer and call it conceptual 3D roof. And so we'll come in here, and I'll grab, I'll just simply grab all my roof parts, and I'll add it to this layer called 3D roof. And whenever you add a new layer, it's automatically on every one of these scene tabs. You have to go and physically turn it off and update each one if you want it off. But what I do want is maybe on this Google Earth, since we're so far away and you can see the geometry starts getting a little muddy, so maybe here we'll turn the 3D roof off, and we can update. So now we can get a little bit of a better image for the roof. Get more of a roof outline as to what's going on. We could come in here and add the 2-dimensional material, which will be underneath our 3D material, so that should be fine. If we come down here and select our Spanish tile, so you can see that we can just quickly add it on to our roof base. So that when we go to Google Earth, it looks like a nice terracotta roof and you can see the roof outline profile, so that works well. But then when we zoom in real quick, you can just, as a reminder, our 3D roof is turned off, so that you see when we go to our roof plan, the 3D tile comes back on. Now if we wanted to, if we felt there was a need, we could turn it off, but At this level, I think it looks better with the 3D roof on. We could always turn the people off and all the entourage stuff off if we wanted to make a little bit of a cleaner true roof plan, and just simply go update. So this way it just has landscaping and our hardscape and our building, and you see the boundary lines. So the point is that you can really control what you want each of these tabs to do, and create some a visual story, if you will, with your model. Another fun piece that I have pre-built into the model, similar to setting up my elevations, I have sections set up. So my 110s will be sections. So we can come here and you see that I have this will be a section AA. So let's update that, and you can see it's right through the middle of my house. It's kind of cool to move it around. You'll see right through the middle of my house. And then section BB is right through front to back of the house. So you see the way the porch works and all that good kind of stuff, even the pool. So we'll update that. And then similar to the sections, my 120s will be floor plans. So we'll just move this on over. And maybe we'll zoom in more just on the floor plan itself, and you can see that we update and we have floor plans. You can see the windows, and I have it preset for first floor and preset for a second floor plan. And what you're not seeing that's already all set up, which is kind of neat, let me just update this, is that in SketchUp, this panel right here, which would be your section box, this one will draw a section plane, this one displays the section planes, and this one displays the section. Meaning right now this is toggled on, so we're seeing this section. So if I toggle it off, the section goes away. This one here is now showing my section planes, and you can see the fuzziness. Let me turn my camera back to perspective, be a little easier to see things. So you can see the translucent boxes. These are my section cutting planes. So they're just simply not active. You can only have one active at a time. And so this orange one right here is the one that's active. I have this set up for a third floor as well, which we don't have. So we'll just simply delete the third floor. And we're going to delete this top section plane because we don't. That was the one that was associated with the third floor. So we'll get rid of that. And what I want to do is simply move my section plane up a little bit, because right now we're a little low. And so if I click, let's see here, make sure we're grabbing the right one. The one that looks orange is the one we want. So there we go. And we can slide it right down to my finished floor, and then move it up 48 inches for typical 4-foot floor plan cut. And then we can toggle the section planes off, and so the section is still active, but the section plane is off. Similar to my building sections, if I want to adjust where they're located, I can simply double click on another section plane. Let me see here, double click on this one, and that'll activate the building section. And you can see I can move it wherever I want and lock it in place, and maybe where it is fine, and so that's where we're going to keep it. So then I can turn the section planes off and go back to my second floor plan, and there we go. And so these are kind of fun tabs that are built in and show you there's quite a bit of things that can be done. Some of the other ones that are useful, again, are my working tab and my scene tab. The working tab is just quick layer controls, which get rid of all the non-essential items, like the trees and whatnot that really slow down modeling, so I can just deal with just the building itself. And my scene tab puts everything back on. Now what's really cool the way this is set up is the way we were talking before. Let's go back to our scene manager. You can see that my working tab only has visible layers and style attached to it, meaning that it doesn't matter where my camera is. Even if I come here and update, it doesn't matter if I rotate around and click working again. It's only concerning itself with visible layers and style. So it's kind of a neat way to create these tabs that really help you model a little quicker. Scene tab is set up the exact same way, where scene just brings all the other layers back on. So these two are used quite a bit, especially while working with clients. I can quickly go to my working tab, adjust something, and then go back to my scene tab and show them what it looks like. My faces tab is something similar, but this only has a style attached, and what this style does is it looks for front and back geometry, and I could probably show you a little better right here. So if we have this cube, and we've talked before how the white face is the one that should always be facing up no matter what you're looking at. And my faces tab really helps resolve issues if there's not. So this reverse faces is putting the blue face up, and that's not what I want. But if we come in here and paint materials, so say we put a brick, a wall on something, it's impossible to tell if the right one is facing up or not, because even if I reverse faces, they're both painted, so I can't tell if it's right or not. So this faces tab will show me, will kind of get rid of materials, and it really highlights things. So pink is what we want and green is what we don't want, so I can immediately see that a green face is facing the wrong direction, and if I right click and go reverse faces, it makes it pink. Now I know I'm back to where I need to be. So it's a quick way I can inspect my model to see what's pink and what's green, to see if my model is built correctly. And as you can see, we've taken great care in building this model so that everything you're seeing is pink. This white one is simply just puts things into a more of a black and white CAD line drawing, which is just useful to have if you want to be able to export things, or really kind of just dumb it down and look at the massing of things. So I'm going to go back to my working tab again, which puts my basic style back on. And this Lumion tab we'll get into some other time when we get into renderings, but these axes ones here, axis 90, 45, plus 30, and minus 30, what's cool about this, let's get rid of this. Now I'm going to move this over here, just kind of get it out of the way for a minute, just so we can turn my axis back on. And if we're building a house, let's say it does something like this, and let's do this, and let's put it back, and it does that. So we have this wing of the house, you know, that does this, and this wing that does this, you know, something crazy. When we're modeling, it's always easy to be able to have my green axes and my red axes work with me. And most times, most of the houses will be orthogonal, and we're working on this orthogonal plane, and my axes work, you know, the way I want them to. But when we get into situations where we sometimes have these odd angles, I've set up these tabs that can change the axes really quick. So if I'm working on this wing, I can change it to an axis 45, and you can see that my axes are now drawing at a 45, and I can't draw orthogonally anymore. So when I come back to work on this section of the house, I just simply click axis 90, and I'm back working there. And when I come to this side, I can either choose plus 30 is too much. That would be if we were, say, 60 degrees, and if we go minus 30, then I can work on this side of the house. So you can see that I'm now working in perfect orthogonal with this portion of the house. So just these are quick tools that really makes things work a lot easier and work for you. And I can go back to my Axes 90 and I'm back to where I should be. So these are really just my utility tabs. So again, that's why they're parenthesed out, because I don't want them to export, because there's nothing really to export from. They're just more of pieces that help me draw. And if I know the house is only going to be orthogonal, then I can come in and delete them because I don't need them, but there's no harm in keeping them there. So that's the basic run through of tabs and how I use them and what can be done. And then we're going to get into using tabs to create options in the next video.